Welcome back to the No State Project. This is another edition of the Same Old Lie World Tour. And if you haven't seen the latest, go to markstevens.net. We have that posted. Have the interview with Alan Ronbell, the Scottsdale police chief, completely unable to provide any evidence whatsoever. Nothing but hostility and ad hominem rants. But hey, what do you expect from a cop? You can't expect any kind of evidence in rational discourse because people who can engage in rational discourse, hey, they don't become cops. But we have another edition here. It's March 18th, 2014. John, who's been previously on the Same Old Lie World Tour with us here at markstevens.net, confronted the Scott County Board of Commissioners on March 18th, 2014. You remember, if you haven't seen it, go to markstevens.net. The first time that he did it, they had no evidence whatsoever. They just sat there like statues. But Pat Ciliberto, in a typical prosecutor, condescending way, made a statement that in direct response to John's question of evidence, he says, well, I'm going to tell you what a judge has already told you. And who he was referring to was the psychopath Rex Stacy, who just merely restating the opinion that the law applies to you is not evidence to actually back that up. But we don't expect anything less from Mr. Ciliberto because he is, in fact, the county attorney, and rational discourse, evidence, logic, things like this, not in interest whatsoever to Mr. Ciliberto or any of his staff that I've spoken to. In fact, Jeannie Anderson told me we don't need evidence. So because that's why you have cops, unthinking men with guns, to just carry out your orders. So if you have evidence, you don't need men with guns. But when you're doing business like the Scott County Commissioners or Maricopa County, whoever it happens to be, because you have no evidence, because you have no logic and reason and a persuasive argument to put forth to the market, you have to use guns. So John, again, here on March 18, 2014, confronts the 5 members of the commission and Mr. Ciliberto again. Now, I have also, for the last 5-6 months, tried to get interviews with these commissioners. They have refused me. They won't even return a phone call. They have never actually responded to an email or fax or a phone call in 5 months. So they have no interest in any kind of discussion with me as far as evidence that their laws apply. They just want to keep raping the people in that particular area. So, evidence be damned. So what Mr. Ciliberto does and what the commissioners do, and when you watch the video, you'll see that instead of just giving the evidence and answering the damn question, what they do is, it's a typical political dodge. They say, no answer I give is going to be accepted by you, which is something that, if you remember, Miss Bowman with the city attorney in Tempe gave me. And instead of just putting the evidence on the table or being honest, like Fritz Bering of the Scottsdale city manager's office, instead of just being honest and saying, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't have any evidence, they have to kind of make an ad hominem attack. See, it's not me, the politician, that's got the problem. It's you, the journalist. You are the one who accept my answers. So instead of just giving the evidence, he just gives this lame ad hominem attack. Another logical fallacy, which is all you can expect from people who do business at the barrel of a gun. What's interesting here, too, is that John confronts him directly and asks him, are you concealing material evidence from me? Which one of the commissioners denies. And that's a very serious charge. I mean, that's a felony under their own rules, to withhold material facts. But in true political fashion, when John says, oh, you're not withholding material evidence from me, do you want to disclose to me what that evidence is? They, of course, sit there like statues. So just to let everybody know, I have not only gone to the county commissioners and the county attorney's office for months without any response whatsoever. I have gone to Lori Swanson's office, who's the attorney general in Minnesota, and also Mike Dayton, and I forget who his lieutenant governor is. Anyway, for several months, I have been wanting to get a media interview with them. All I want is 5 minutes to ask them a question I have already given them months ago. So it's like an open book test. Here, get your whole staff to research this damn thing. Get your best guys on this. So when I speak to you and ask you directly on the phone, then you'll have your answer. You'll have this evidence and be able to prove what is so damn easy to prove that if it gets Mark, I'm just an idiot because I just don't get it. But in all these months, they've never given me so much as a phone call back. I'll speak to someone in the office about scheduling a media interview, and I'll never hear back from them, which is pretty standard. Because when it comes down to it, that's why we call it the Same Old Lie World Tour. There is no damn evidence. It's just because, again, the lie is that just because you're physically in Minnesota, the Constitution laws in Minnesota apply to you. It's a lie. And if anyone doubts, watch this video, watch the other videos, listen to the phone call with Alan Robel, the police chief in Scottsdale. He's got no evidence. Call yourself. Call up this Lori Swanson. Call Mike Dayton up. Call the office up. Call the county commissioners in Scott County or wherever you happen to live and ask them directly. Or do what John did. Go to the local city council, or the county commissioners, and ask them point blank. Send me the link to the video. I'd be more than happy to see what they have to say and post it on the air, especially if you think that they've got some evidence. But again, the invitation I have to all critics: if you believe that there's evidence to prove that their laws, their constitutions apply, just because you're physically in the same area, call into the No State Project. We're here on LRN.FM every Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also listen to that at markstevens.net. And if you have to, we'll set you up as a guest. Or if we have to pre-record it, or we'll go on another radio show. We'll go on another live broadcast. So however you want to do it to present your evidence, I'm more than happy to meet you at the door and take care of that, because I'm all ears, always willing to hear the evidence. Again, on Marc Stevens' website, markstevens.net.
And for March 18th, 2014. Welcome to the Scott County Board of Commissioners meeting. Recognition of interested citizens, limited to 5 minutes per person or subject. If you'd like to speak, step to the podium here, give us your name and address, and we'll give you 5 minutes. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Board, and Patrick Ciliberto. Thank you very much for this 5 minutes. My family name is Miser, given name is John Thomas Jr., domiciled over in Dakota County, Nation, Minnesota, United States of America. Here, without prejudice, expressly reserving all my liberties, rights, and privileges as a man on the land, created in the image and likeness of my Creator, God our Father, non-domestic, without the U.S. 2 weeks ago, I came here to attempt to get some evidence, and I'm trying to settle a claim. The Scott County believes that I have a tax assessment against me, and I'm coming here before this board and from anybody since last August, and I submitted evidence to try and secure any evidence that the law is applicable to me just because I stand on the land here. And in fact, for any of the people here. And so far, I've been met with dodges, false claims, ad hominem attacks, and I'm kind of frankly shocked. So I'm really just trying to get the evidence. And last week, 2 weeks ago, Patrick Ciliberto said, just submit a written request. So I did that. 2 weeks have come and gone, and Patrick has not responded. I've not got anything from Patrick. I submitted a written request to Heather Kendall, the district court administrator. I've not gotten anything back. Silence. So this whole board, the county attorney, and everyone has been silent. And yet a bureaucratic attack is taking place. So, Patrick, I'm interested. Do you or do you not have any evidence?
Are you done, Mr. Miser?
No, I've got my 5 minutes. I've asked you a question. Do you or do you not have any evidence?
Mr. Miser, we've been dealing with you for months. It's a game to you. I'm no longer participating in your game. If you don't feel you need to pay property taxes, don't pay them. We'll deal with it later. But I can't help but think that responding to you is simply a futile waste of time. You've been responded to, but you simply won't accept the answers. So, with that said, if the county board is going to give you any more time, they're going to give you any more time. But I'm not giving you any more time.
Okay, so it's interesting. Are you withholding material evidence from me, Patrick? I have 5 minutes. I'm about 2.5 minutes into it. I looked at the clock. Are you withholding material evidence from me?
Well, Mr. Miser, I will grant you the 5 minutes as long as you're coming up with something new. And Patrick's going to, but this isn't just going to be a back and forth ping pong game here.
I'll keep going with that. Fine. So I understand that you guys all have an oath of office. And I looked it up. So you all have an oath of office. And if I understand an oath of office correctly, that oath is to protect and defend the unalienable rights of myself and all these participants out here. Is that not correct?
Yep.
Okay, so if I am suffering a bureaucratic attack from a public servant, which would be a violation of their oath, do I not have the ability to ask for evidence of where it is to go through there? The alleged Constitution talks about due process. So due process, I'm asking for evidence. Absent due process, it's merely a gun that is coming after me, or police officers that are coming after me. So I'm asking a very simple question. Do you have the evidence that the Minnesota Constitution, the statutes, and the code apply to me or any of the people here in the room just because we're standing on the land? And I've provided that information, and I'm just asking a simple question. And it's just bizarre. I'm not making a claim. I am not making a claim. I'm just asking a question. And I've not been able to get an answer to that question. I've asked Gary Schulten. I've asked everybody here. And I'm tracking that I've got 1 more minute. And I see silence. So I'm just curious. I'm not trying to cause, I'm just looking for evidence. So I stated that I would grab a copy, so I'm guessing nobody's answering me, so that the silence is your acquiescence that there is no evidence of the applicability.
I don't think
of those
I'd make
laws.
that. I don't think I'd make that statement or confuse the two. The silence between we're given into that. No.
Okay. So then, are they withholding material evidence?
No.
Okay. Then where is the evidence?
Mr. Chair?
Okay. My 5 minutes is
We've
up.
we've gone over this, John.
I'm just asking for the evidence. You said that you have it, so you're not withholding material evidence. I'm just asking for the evidence. And I'll settle the claim. Just like this, I brought my checkbook. I will walk right down there and settle it. All I want is the evidence.
Okay. According to my clock here,
Okay. So I've
We're
got
at
no
the 5
evidence.
minutes
I just
here.
wanted to make it, so I appreciate you
I
giving me
trust
5
that.
minutes.
I trust that the attorney has talked to you, probably until he's blue in the face, because I know he's talked to other people until everything's settled up. And it just sounds to me like no matter what, you're not going to be happy with this.
I have all the evidence. I've submitted here another affidavit. I'll give it to you guys. This is the letter. I have every response that I've gotten from that office. I've recorded responses when I've talked to the attorneys, Jeannie Anderson, Ron Hosevar, Patrick Ciliberto. I have recordings of saying we don't need evidence. We can proceed absent of evidence. I've got the recordings. So I'm documenting what's happening to me. I've submitted the evidence. I'm going to submit this here on the record today. I'm just looking for evidence. So you're right. I am unhappy when I
Okay.
look at the evidence. And the last part I'll go, as I'm leaving here.
Submit it.
2 weeks when I was here, we have a judge here that has no oath of office. It was written up in the Star Tribune. And I've asked for help on that, to have the attorney's office to go through on and make charges on 609-43 public misconduct. Yet they don't do it when I submit the evidence. So again, I don't know what's going on here. So thank you very much. I appreciate the 5 minutes. I'm just trying to hold people accountable. If the name of the game is break a rule and pay, then do public servants pay when they break the rules? It's a simple question. Do they pay when they break a rule or not?